Guys, I was speaking about Bigfoot, so I had to. And also Yetis. Now, straight away, it's like the same kind of people that's in different locations. It's almost like I would still be a human living in the UK and somebody in South America, even though they may be different culturally, speak a different language to me, look differently to me, just as an example, we are still both humans. It's kind of the same with Yetis. Adaptation. And adaptation, because obviously if it was in the mountains, being white, you would blend into the scenery. You're not going to really want to stick out like a sore thumb. So it's adaptation over centuries and centuries. Now, again, I really believe as well that these are fourth dimensional beings. So the people that can see them, if they are awake enough, then they can see them. But that's why not everybody can, because not everybody is fourth dimension. They're not. So they can't see things like others could on a different frequency. Basically, it's all to do with frequencies and energies. So if you match their frequency and energy and you're open to it, it's possible to see them. Now, I did hear the word fae, as in fairy, and I do think, I'm not sure if this is right, but fae are almost like fourth dimensional as well. It's just the frequency above ours. It's almost like living in the planes between heaven and our world, kind of in the middle. It's that kind of same energy, the fae. They were around when the Fae were around, which has been forever. Since time began. Since time began. Since time began. These things are going way back. Now, obviously people are terrified of them. Let's have a look at their energy. Let's have a look. Let's do Bigfoot, because it's kind of the same. I'm hearing same breed, different location. Let's have a look. Bigfoot. What is your energy? Or Sasquatch, should I say? Bigfoot, what is your energy? What is your energy like? What is your energy? What is your energy? What's your energy? Just getting this as well. This sounds really weird. I know people say they're like fur, brown fur. Remember the TV series, Bigfoot, and the Hendersons, remember? But I'm seeing they can actually camouflage themselves to bark like on a tree. It's like you think it's a tree and then it will move and it will look humanoid in shape. They can actually change their skin. I'm actually seeing chameleons and certain species of, is it squid, that can change their colours to fit into their landscape. This is why it's so hard to see them. They have the ability to adapt to their surroundings. Like it is like fur, but it's like it can change. It's just insane. The chameleons of the woods, they can blend in. I'm literally seeing one on a tree, like it looks like a tree, and then it moves, and then you see the humanoid figure, but it looks like a tree. They can adapt like chameleons. They can adapt, which makes sense because they're higher beings. I'm getting more like sixth dimensional, way higher than we can imagine. More like six, maybe even higher than that, maybe going up to 10. They're very enlightened beings. Now let's see what their energy is like. The creativity makes a lot of sense here. The Ace of Wands means literally to survive. This is all about the creativity. Even the Queen of Wands is creativity. The actors, the jokers, they're quite charismatic. They are. They're very close to their family. Family bonds mean everything to them with this 10 of Cups. They're homebodies. They love their family. They're tribes. Now, what I'm seeing now is literally like in the Stone Ages where you used to get tiny settlements. Say Stone Age, guys, okay? Stone Age families. They go from one place to the next. They never really permanently settle. Redwoods, again, redwood trees. So that was a settlement. So I feel where the redwoods are, oh my God, guys, this is going to kill me because my friend's just gone there. There used to be a settlement where the redwood trees are. It's California, I think, but I can't remember the exact area. There was a settlement there thousands of years ago, I'm hearing, which became unlivable. I do wonder if this is to do with flooding as well there. There's some environmental thing that happened, which means they couldn't live there anymore where the redwoods are. And they've spread out. They still have a red tone to them, actually, to blend into the trees there. This is just insane. But I feel like they started off there and they've spread out. Now, I really want to know where the sightings are. Are most of them in California, Canada, wherever? I've got to Google this after. So it's like they've spread out over time and they don't stay in one place anymore. They're constantly moving. They're constantly moving. But they are very much with their family groups. They're with their family groups, okay? I'm hearing wanderers. They're wanderers. They don't stay in one place. That's why you're not usually going to get the same sighting in the same area. They move on. They move on. They're shy. They're scared of people. Territorial, though. Very territorial. If you see them, very territorial. Don't fuck with them. Don't fuck with them. But it's pretty much like humans. We've even got the phallic. These are the ones that's a very phallic card, a sexual card, like family, groups, birth, fertility, you know? They still are kind of expanding, but at a very slow rate. At a very slow rate compared to what we would, honestly. It's like a ridiculously slow rate, but they're still expanding and they're like us. They're literally like us, but more evolved. There's not a bad energy as such. We have the Eight of Wands, which is a very positive energy around them, especially around their family units. They're so protective. They have so much love. Now we have the Five of Swords energy coming up with the World. Okay, now for me, this is us. The Five of Swords energy doesn't mean battling with one person. It means fighting with multiple people. Fighting with multiple people, the world here, literally fighting against the world, fighting against us, fighting against people. Three of Pentacles, more learning needs to come in. We're not learning fast enough. Obviously, deforestation, cutting down the, deforestation, cutting down their homeland. Massive. There's been some sneaky oil. They're annoyed about something to do with oil. This sounds random because you wouldn't think oil would be dropped in the middle of a forest. But there's something to do with oil contamination in particular areas in the US, which has contaminated the whole floor and all the ecosystem, which has caused massive damage. Now, for me, oil would be oil rigs at sea. I don't know what to say in the forest, but there's something that they're angry about that's happened. We're not learning fast enough. We're getting there, but we're not learning fast enough. And that's because they're wanderers. So I feel originally they were moved on, not because of us, this is way before us, but because of changes in the circumstances to do with flooding the forest, their habitat had changed. And since then, they've just always been on the move. But I keep getting something, oil kegs, like the oil canisters being dropped off in woods or something, contamination of something. For money, for payoff, for money. For money. I wonder if this is something to do with leaks into the water systems or something that's contaminated the area. Can you even drill for oil in the forest? Honestly, are there even oil fields in the middle of the forest? I've never heard of that, to be fair. I'm not an oil specialist though, am I, guys? Come on. Right, let's have a look. The tides are starting to change, but there's still this is actually crazy information coming through, considering I'm trying to tune into the energy. The corporations are still lying. They're still lying. They're out for their own good. They're out for money. They're slow at learning. They're not learning fast enough. They're annoyed. They're protectors. And this is why they will kick off. They don't trust people. They do not trust the normal. They would consider your average hiker walking through the forest as somebody actually going in there to scape out, okay, we're going to cut down this land or we're going to do this to the forest. They see you as a threat. But more interestingly, not really a threat to them personally, but a threat to their habitat is what's coming out here. A threat to their habitat. And I feel constricted. I feel like the area they live, just say this is the US and this is all forest. It's doing this. And they're getting more and more constricted. So they have to be more creative to blend in. And I keep getting blended into a tree, which is just crazy because I just thought they would just be like, Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot and the Hendersons. Like this big bear kind of gorilla monkey kind of thing. And I didn't think it would be able to actually change its body literally to resemble a tree. A bit like Hunger Games where he did the camouflage on his hand, So overall, a very tight-knit family group. Not aggressive unless they have to protect themselves, okay? Now, interestingly, I think the younger ones, because it's so rare for them to have younger ones, it's so hard for them, that the younger ones take longer to adapt in that situation. They can't just mold into their surroundings, so that's when they become more defensive. But the younger ones are few and far between, I'm hearing. It's not a dying race, but it's so slow. It's so slow. But it is like almost like a race of people. But again, a different frequency to us and a different civilization to us, way before us, way before us. Do you know what? I heard David and Goliath. Apparently, Goliath was actually one of the Bigfoots originally. Apparently, that's the rumours on the street, guys. Anyway, Four of Swords does mean gradual healing, though. Gradual healing. It's tough for them. But overall, I do feel as we're actually growing ourselves, it's like there's going to be fewer lies for money. These corporations protecting themselves, you know. Also, they're trying to get across, I don't know if this is true either, that a company that makes millions and millions by deforestation or oil or things along those lines will say, actually, the money we get, we invest 10% back into growing new trees and things along those lines. A lot of it's just complete bullshit, and they're not at all. They're doing far more damage than you can even imagine. They're just doing this to appease us, basically. But they are saying that's going to be the end of these people. They're going to be few and far between. And again, I feel a new kind of environmental warrior coming in. Not just people like Greta Thunberg that are just going to be like kicking off, you know. I mean, people that will actually be like Greta Thunberg, but in charge of environmental actual companies about looking after our forests and things like that. These generations are going to be the people running the companies in the future, not the people currently that are just doing it for money in their own gain. And a lot of it's bullshit. I'm just getting strongly about it's complete crap when they say we're investing 10% back to deforestation or all this, and it's crap. It's none of that at all. Not everyone. We're going to label everyone, but the biggest corporations, it's all rubbish. But there will be a turn for us. There is going to be a turn. But overall, yes, it's definitely their own race of people. They're kind of like people, but it's almost like we could have originated from them. Now, I believe we originated from lots of things, lots of different types of DNA. But overall, I do feel there's something to do with our origins are linked to them in some way. In some way. They almost see us like bratty children. You know what I mean? Almost like our kids can't play with your kids. Guys, it's 12 minutes, so I'm going to leave it there. But yes, they are real. They're not in our dimensional frequency. Unless you're a higher dimension, it's unlikely you're going to see them. Very unlikely you're going to see them. They are extremely curious. They will go in to investigate things. But they don't stay in one place for too long. They're movers, they're on the move. They're on the move. So if you spot them, they're unlikely to be there the next day. They're movers, they're going to take off with their families. And there's families, there's youngsters. But I keep hearing fewer and fewer. It takes way longer. The cycle, fertility cycle, the pregnancy, everything, it takes so much longer. It takes way longer, and they live a lot longer than us as well. And I feel, it sounds weird, but I feel because they live a lot longer, their reproductive cycle and it's completely different from us. They will be kids for far longer. They're far more protective over their juniors. I'm hearing over their juniors. But that's it. Yes, they're real. Yeti is the same thing. It's like same breed, different race, different culture, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And they go through the same issues as well, because obviously with things like global warming, I mean, if there's less, I mean, I went skiing on a really famous mountain in Bankso, and there was actually no snow on it at all. It was actually green at the top of the mountain. So that's another environmental issue they will have to worry about. But at least the people are more respectful of them because they're fearful of them. So overall, they're peaceful, but don't mess with them. Don't mess with them, guys.